As you can tell, I'm over it.
There's no one else on the planet out of 7.5 billion opportunities. There is only one configuration of all these beautiful gifts and talents in you. You're the only one on the planet. Like, that is amazing. I've talked about this for so long, Brooke. Like, how long have we been talking about doing some kind of show collaboration together?
Totally. Years.
On many different topics, never quite nailing it. And of course, doing the Guardian thing of like, yeah, we should do that. Okay.
One day we'll do it. Yeah. And then every couple of months we're like, let's do it. And then never happens.
So this is us just getting rid of our Guardian ways and going activator style and just do it.
Yes. Yes.
Freaking do it. And of course, then we actually have to do it. And it's like, okay, wait, what do we want to do? How do we want to do this? Like,
exactly.
how are we going to help people get
Yes.
clarity on it? So, I used my crusaderness, my crusader side streak that I have, which we have to look at your profile to see if you've got any other streaks in yours. I think you've got connector in there like me, but we should go deeper into your profile and see if you've got any other trends. We call them trendencies or tendencies. Brought my crusaderness to this and like just got some questions for us to collect our thoughts and get a little bit more clarity on this. So I'm keen to really hear like what you came up with, because we had a great conversation yesterday about vulnerability and creating safe space for people, and all of the negativity and the angst and the confusion and the overwhelm that's in the world. And how do we want to counteract that, or how do we want to bring some clarity or help people through that whole scenario? And so that's what these questions were really all about, and that was kind of the framework for what we're doing here. And so I'd love to hear, in the first question that I got for us was, what have your life experiences taught you about people?
So this question was, well, they were all like, I don't want to say difficult to answer, but they were like really obviously thought-provoking. The notes that I have here, what I wrote was, people are so different and so complex, yet so similar. Yet they're all so different. Like every person is so different. I have learned anyways, how you have to learn to deal with people differently by getting to know someone and just seeing what their tendencies are or what they like to do. You have to learn how to cater towards them, to deal with them. And ultimately what I've learned is people just want to be accepted and to be loved at the end of the day. And that's all that everybody wants. And it's so interesting when you are surrounded by so many different types of people and you can see how people react differently or choose to do things differently. Yet at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is for everybody just to be loved and accepted. Just the other thing is that there's no such thing as perfection. I think something that's ingrained in us so young is that we have to aspire to be this perfect person. You want to be tall, you want to be slim, you want to be smart, you want to be active, but you want to be a little bit compassionate and, have a little bit of emotion, but not too much. When really there's absolutely nobody is perfect. Your definition of perfection is different than mine. And we're all so unique. But like I said at the beginning, we're all so much alike.
I know you nailed it. That these were supposed to be thought-provoking questions. It's
oh my gosh.
Okay, and then the first question off the bat is like, boom.
Yeah, totally.
This big, deep, complex,
yes.
Your entire life experience, but
yeah, exactly.
Go deep or go home.
Yeah, totally.
Cut straight to the chase. I agree with a lot that you said, and that's why I'm really, really excited for us to dig deeper on the health types, to understand like the actual biological drivers on how people are hardwired differently. Now, a little brainstorming that I did, for me, everyone has a fascinating story to tell. Everyone is interesting. And we've met like probably probably can't count how many thousands of people we've met with all the moves we did growing up and all the traveling that we've done in different schools, right, Brooke? Like,
Yeah.
we've met so many people, and everyone is so different. And that's why they're so interesting, is because they've had a different upbringing, different influences, different background. And, you know, when you grow up in the same family, in the same town, you kind of just assume everyone else is the same as you. And if you just, you know, actually go beyond the surface level, hey, how's your day going? Great. You know, and actually dig into it. It's like, oh, you're a hockey family? Oh, we're actually a football family. Oh, interesting. I wonder how that changed the dynamics. Like, we've run across that in our own family too, right? Like, when you have those different differences. And so, yeah, I think everyone's got a fascinating story to tell. Also, that the most effective, universally understood communication tool you have is your smile.
Yeah.
And like traveling through all these different countries where English is not the first language.
Personally?
Oh wait, let's just clarify.
Yeah.
Were you talking to me? These pearly whites?
Yes.
It's not all about you, Brooke.
Yeah.
Your world is about
That's why
you.
I signed up for this.
But it's something that I've come across, like the most effective way for me to interact and communicate to other people who don't speak the same language that I do is a smile. You know, and even with other beings, like with dogs, when I've come across, you know, walking some back streets of Thailand and having these territorial dogs come and barking at me and like asserting their territory, I actually like bent down and smiled at them and like cooed and was like, oh, hi puppy. You know, they feel that, they sense that too, and it completely diffuses that situation. And so it's always been really powerful tool when I'm traveling, is just to understand how powerful and how universally known the smile is. Like, you can go to the depths of, you know, Thailand or, you know, other places, and everyone knows what a smile is, no matter what.
And everybody, yeah.
I've also learned that people are terrible listeners, and that typically we're listening to respond, or typically we are listening to get something out of it for ourselves, instead of actually being present with that person and just listening to them and being very present in the moment. And that comes from my years of communication training too, being a professional communicator and having to work on the skill of active listening. So I'm very grateful that that is a genetic genius of ours as guardians. And I'd also say lastly that inside each of us, this is going really deep through all my years of therapy, inside each of us, there is just a hurt little child that just wants to be heard and just wants to be loved. Yep. And when I see someone flailing about and yelling and screaming or stomping their foot or getting irritated in some way, it's not them. It's something inside of them. It's some hurt that's deeply ingrained in them, that's being misunderstood, that's not being recognized, that's not being honored, that's not being respected, that it's typically not the present situation at hand. It's something so much deeper than that. And that's what they're actually responding to. That's my life experiences in a nutshell.
Again, isn't it funny? We both bring it back to love and acceptance.
Mm-hmm. So true.
As a theme, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Brooke, what do you want to contribute to the world?
You know, it's so funny, Kate, following that last response to your question, I wrote notes here. And so it says, what do I want to contribute? And the first thing I wrote was listen.
Ooh, we're on the same page. Yes. And just so people know, we did these questions separately. Like, we did them on our own.
On separate sides of the world.
Yeah, literally.
Like, we're not even in the same city or country or continent. Well, I guess kind of continent, but not really. So I wrote, listen. I want to, I'm such a firm believer in listening and active listening, because like you said, I find that nobody listens. right? We all want to be heard, yet nobody wants to listen. So I want to be there to listen and be actively listening and come from a place of love, spread love and acceptance, and know that everything that we talk about here, or if anybody ever wants to share anything, this is a safe place and everybody's safe here. There's no judgment, and that's a whole other topic we can talk about. Also humor, just bring humor to every situation. Life's hard. We all go through difficult things. We've all struggled with our own insecurities and situations we're put into. And at the end of the day, I think, Katey, you and I can both agree that humor is such a huge tool for us that we use for our own healing and dealing with our everyday.
And laughter therapy is a thing. Like, it's literally a tool, a technique. Laughter therapy, laughter yoga. Like, there's some validity to it.
Yes.
Otherwise, scientists and psychologists wouldn't use it, right?
And I didn't know that, but I 100% agree. And I feel like I should have invented that. Because that's so us, right? Just be light in so many senses of that word, like light, like take everything lightly. I try not to take life too seriously. So let's look at the light side of things. Be a shining light for people.
I love it. I'm giggling. I've been giggling this whole time, Brooke, because literally it's the same words for me.
Yes.
Like how you said your first word was listen.
Yeah.
My first word was acceptance. Acceptance and love.
Yes. Oh my God. Of course.
So what do I want to contribute to the world is acceptance and helping people accept themselves, but also accept others.
Yes.
I want to love people for who they really are deep down inside and show them how amazing and how beautiful they are. And I see that in them, and I want them to see that reflection in my eyes when they're looking at me or when they're talking to me. Like, I'm just reflecting the love I see inside of them, and I just want them to use me as a mirror so that they can look back at themselves and see that love coming right back at them.
Yeah.
Understanding, compassion, and for me, in a practical sense, I really want to elevate the conversation around healthy communications to unify our global community. And this is communicating in a conscious way, but I feel like conscious communications is just like, it's such a catch phrase, and so many people use consciousness, and that it doesn't mean too much these days anymore. And I think what I'm talking about is really healthy communications. And to me, that's got a much more grounded feel to it, a grounded energy when you talk about healthy communications, not conscious communications, which can alienate some people because they're like, I don't know what you're talking about with consciousness, and other people are like, oh yes, I identify with that on the spiritual side of things. So I guess this is my practical nature coming out. Like, healthy communications to me just feels more grounded, and how we can practically use this to help ourselves. And so this is how I want to contribute, using my own strengths of being guardian, communications, like in my personal and professional life. This is really how I want to contribute to help the world better understand themselves, so that we can better understand one another, because it all starts with us understanding ourselves first. We have to understand ourselves for us to even begin to understand other people. And so this is something that I'm really passionate about. So
there you go.
So next question was, Brooke, what in your opinion is lacking in the world that you want to fill with the content of this show?
Oh, this was another tough one. These are like, yeah, thanks a lot. So the first thing I wrote down here was honest conversations with real people, because I feel personally, somebody who is honestly a social media addict.
Consumer.
Yes, consumer. Thank you.
Or addict. Yes.
Or addict. A lot of the content that I see and, things that I follow, whether it be mom bloggers, makeup and hair bloggers, stuff like that, I feel like a lot of it is so fake, and it's just for the consumer, and it's not real, it's not raw. So it's really hard to relate to that stuff because it's not real. It might be somebody's reality, probably maybe 0.01% of the population. But in general, it's just not honest and real to me, and sincere. So I'm hoping for this platform, for us, we can just be honest, with each other and with everyone, and just be who we are. We've got nothing to hide. The other thing that is lacking, I wrote here, was reassurance, understanding, and compassion. What I've learned, through my experiences is we're so guarded. We keep everything so close to us. We don't want to let anybody know if we're struggling with something or if something's bothering us. But what I've found within the past couple of years is as soon as you start sharing and unleashing these maybe insecurities you have, start talking to other people, everybody else has the exact same issues, insecurities, maybe not, I shouldn't say the exact, but have similar ones, and they can relate. And it just goes to show we're not alone. I want people to know that they're not alone if they're struggling out there, or if they're going through some crappy times. We're all kind of dealing with that. This is another hard one though.
Yeah, well,
because there's a lot lacking.
Totally. But we need to dig deep and ask these hard questions, because this is life, and I love that line that you said at the beginning, real people having honest conversations. And in my mind, I switched it around and I was like, honest people having real conversations.
Yeah.
And that's also what we want to cultivate here.
Totally.
And this is amazing, because I pretty much got the exact same answers that you shared, to share with people this knowledge of this health type information and this biologically driven awareness and understanding, so they can learn to unconditionally love themselves and each other.
Yeah.
But as you said, also creating a safe space of unconditional, non-judgment love for us to explore and marvel at ourselves and each other. I think marvel is a beautiful word, because it's just like, to me, marvel is like, oh, wow,
yes,
I am amazing, and you are amazing, and we are amazing. And there's almost this fear in our society of like recognizing and honoring how amazing we are. And it's thought of as being like bragging, or, tooting your own horn, whatever you want to call it. But that's where self-love comes from. Like, sure, there's the ego side of it, where if you come at it from like a pretentious angle, but this is about celebrating the fact of how many talents and gifts you do have and how much you can contribute to the world. Like, because you are amazing. There's no one else on the planet out of 7.5 billion opportunities. There is only one configuration of all these beautiful gifts and talents in you. You're the only one on the planet. Like, that is amazing.
It's unbelievable.
Because it's your DNA. Like, you're hardwired this way.
Yeah.
So genetically, there's no one else on them besides twins, and even twins grow up to be completely different people.
Yeah.
And identical twins. There's no one else on this planet that has the same DNA as you. So no one else has this hardwired genius ingrained in every cell of their body. 7.5 billion people, and you're the only one with this unique combination of talents. Like, it just blows my mind. Brooke, why do you want to do this show and talk about these things?
Katey, the reason why I want to do this show.
That's a media training right there.
Yeah,
Right
back. Just to show people that life doesn't have to be too serious. We can have fun in any situation. You can, of course we have to deal with our stuff and work through it and, deal with that. But at the same time, we don't need to take anything too seriously. Life is short. So let's enjoy what we have. Let's celebrate ourselves. Let's celebrate each other. And basically telling people there's no normal. There's this misconception out there that, everybody keeping up with the Joneses, everybody you have to become this person, like I was saying earlier, that you got to be this exact body type, and you have to work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Your 2 kids have a house and a car, and newsflash, that's not attainable for people, and it's that's not necessarily normal for anyone. Life is crazy and different for everyone. So I just want everybody to know, and everybody to kind of, whoever tunes in, whoever wants to, whoever is watching this, just know that there's no normal. You're just here to normal. And I'm not normal. If anybody's not normal, I'm not normal. And I don't even know what the definition of normal is, but it's kind of a joke if you ask me. And yeah, like, not to take anything too seriously. Like, we're just here to have fun. We're here to be light. We're lightening up our loads and just enjoying ourselves.
And I think, like, to further that point, it's, you get to define what your definition of normal is. And yes, what your definition of normal is, like what's normal for Brooke is not normal for Katey, and what's normal for Katey is not normal for Brooke.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have different definitions of normality.
Yes.
You know, you get to define what that is for yourself. And that's what we're really talking about, is just better understanding who you are, so you can define your identity, what normality is for you, what pleasure is for you, what love is for you. You know, that it's not these blanket concepts that everyone needs to define love in a certain way, and everyone needs to define normal in a certain way, or define productivity in a certain way. Like, we all have different definitions of these terms, and that's okay. That's what this is all about. Well, for me, and I actually got teary-eyed when I wrote this because I went really deep on this. My personal journey has been pretty intense over the past 3 years since I first came across this information of the health types and personalized health, and understanding what my personal definition of health is based on my unique needs of my DNA, of my body, of my mind. And my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health has exponentially improved by applying these health type concepts to relationship with myself and to my relationships with others in my life. I'm so inspired that I have this clarity, and that I have this solid framework, and these, you know, it's almost like these goggles that I get to put on every day. And with this information, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it's just provided me so much clarity in how I am, and it's okay to be the way that I am. And also understand when I'm viewing other people and how they're responding, they're reacting or interacting with other people or with myself. Like, it allows me to be the observer and distance myself from taking it so personally and investing so much of my being in whatever's unfolding in front of me. And I've completely shifted my life, my attitude, my lifestyle, everything with this information. I just really feel called to share, and if it helped me, I just hope that it would help at least one other person. And I feel like that's how I can contribute.
Well, yeah, it helped me, so there's one other person.
Well, there you go. Right?
We're done.
All right, then.
Yeah.
Thank you. Peace. Good night.
Yes.
Right? But wouldn't you agree? Like, I mean, you haven't fully invested as much in the health types, and like, I've gone kind of full blown.
I am a guardian.
You are a guardian. You're taking your time.
So I'm taking my time.
But like, how have you benefited from understanding this health type information?
Well, like you said, I haven't invested like half as much time and energy into it as you have, but everything that I've learned is from you, and it is, I don't want to say life-changing, but pretty close. Just having this information and applying it to, like you said, just how people react to things, knowing that it's in their DNA and not taking things personally. You know, if if somebody is reacting some way that's so out of character, or, you know, what's my normal, I know, oh, you know what, they're an activator, so they get a little crazy, or, you know, like whatever it is. It's so helpful. Even, you know, and if I can give an example, Katey, you and I we were on the island one time, and we were at a Starbucks, and I was driving my husband's truck, and it's huge, and I couldn't park it anywhere there. So there was like a little area that I had just kind of pulled over, and this guy walked out of Starbucks and kind of yelled at me, like, learn to park your car or something. And it really like affected me, like, oh, like it hurt me, you know. And I said to Kate, like, I don't know, what am I supposed to do? And you said to me, oh, he's what was he, an activator or something?
Activator, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, that's just his reaction. That's where he's going. Like, he's not thinking. He's just going at you. And I thought, oh my God, like I would have in the past thought and stewed over that for weeks. Like that would have really bothered me, because it really shook me. But just hearing you say, you know, that's just who he is. It's don't take it personally. I got over it pretty quickly, you know, like even like that day. Yeah. Mm-hmm. As you can tell, I'm over it. But but no, like it that was kind of an aha moment for me, like, oh my God, things that have happened to us in the past, or people, like you said, people's reactions, stuff like that. It's just so interesting knowing these health types and knowing that this is how people are wired. And it's okay. And I don't take it personally anymore. Like if people freak out, or not that happens often to me. I'm just going to clarify, because I feel like I'm making it sound like people freak out at me a lot. They don't. But the odd time. So.
I remember that. We were in the truck, and it was in the morning, and there was like the drive-through lineup going this way, people coming and going out of the parking lot this way. You had a kid in the back seat, a dog in the back seat, me there, and we had this massive truck, and you had to back the truck in, and so you were just flustered because it was in the morning, and guardians were not at our prime in the morning. We need some time to really start ramping up our energies and our awareness, like throughout the day. We're feeling flustered, and there's all this activity going on, and you're just trying to like make sure that everyone knows where everyone is, and no one's going to hit you in your husband's truck, and you've got your baby in the car, and we're reversing in. And then this activator comes screeching around the corner, you know, and did one of those at you.
Yes.
And it was like, said to you, I'm like, oh, yeah, Brooke, it's okay. He's an activator. That's his adrenaline. He's hardwired to react. He's hardwired to feel a state of balance when he's got that adrenaline coursing through his body. And that makes you very fiery and can come across very expressive. But you know, once it's out, he's over it. He's not going to be cursing your name for the rest of the day. Yeah. That's just his in the moment response is just going to be like, oh,
yes.
You know? And so it's nothing to take on. Don't allow that to influence the rest of your day. Like he would have forgotten about it by the time he took the corner, because he's probably
exactly. Whereas I would, like I said, as probably you guardians would hold on to that and stew on that for weeks. Like, oh my God, he hates me. Like he's probably still thinking about how terrible of a driver I was, when really.
Oh, it's so true. And I would like to hear from you. What changes you have seen in me since I've learned this health type information and started changing my life and lifestyle?
Oh my God, where do we start? It's like night and day. You have, I don't know if the word is blossomed or like completely changed, you know, like if I'm completely honest, you know, Katey was always known as the moody, grumpy person who, you know, was sometimes difficult to deal with because she just appeared to be grumpy all the time. And ever since...
For clarity, that's very common of unbalanced guardians.
And since doing this, it was actually difficult for us as a family. So Katey went away went on retreats. You know, you really you dove in feet first on this PH 360 and like took this on and ran with it. So Katey went away for a few months. You did a few retreats. You did this pro series or, you know, coaching courses. and came back 6 months to a year later, this like happy, healthy person. And it took a while for us to adjust because we were like, I want what she's having, you know, like what's like, is this sustainable? Is this just a fad? Because Katey, you know, we've all been through the fad diets and the fad cleanses and programs and all that. And 3 years later, I mean, nothing has changed. Well, nothing, you've not gone back to the unbalanced guardian that you were, but you've completely, like I said, blossomed. Physically, you're healthier. Mentally, I can tell you're healthier. So that's what I would say is that overall, you're a healthier, happier person with a lot of knowledge to share too, you know, but not overkill, if that makes sense.
And how is it not overkill?
Because it's not kind of, some people get super passionate, which I mean, you are super passionate about it, but about pH 360, but it's not an annoying passion, if you will. You know, you're not forcing it down people's throats. You're just actually educating people and saying like, this is what I've learned. This is what I'm doing. And look how it's changed my life. If you're interested, I'd love to talk to you about it, but I'm not going to force you to do it. Because there is one person in our family, father, our dad, who still has not taken a pH 360 tester because he's resistant to it. So you're not being forceful about it, but the educating is the key because it's just changed my life too. And like I said, I've hardly even like touched on it as much as you have.
And how has it changed your life? What you have learned so far about the HealthType info?
Oh, just acceptance. So understanding the different health types and the body types. And like that example I gave earlier, I no longer take things personally. I no longer judge people for who they are or decisions that they make or reactions that they have, because that's who they are. That's just the way they're wired. That's their DNA. Dealing with my dad, my husband, who are, I don't know, what are they, activators and who are completely different than me. So just learning to deal with them and knowing like, that's okay. Like that's their reaction. That's how they're going to deal with it. As a guardian, I'm just going to sit and watch and like giggle to myself for a minute as they have their freak out, and then we can move on. So it's just life-changing in understanding different people.
And to understand you like would interpret that as a freak out. And to them, it's just expressing themselves, like they just need to get it out, right?
Exactly.
And there's no judgment on the label of freak out. It's just like, no, as a guardian, there's no way you would expend that kind of energy and react that way.
Exactly. And on the flip side, learning to accept ourselves and myself and my body and who I am, and that, yeah, like I'm big boned, I'm a guardian, and that's okay. Like that's still healthy. It's not to say that because I am a little bit bigger or a little rounder, curvier, that I'm, like that's
lazy.
Lazy. Exactly. Sorry. Like that's not who we are. It just happens to be how we're built.
And how other people may perceive you, a guardian, being a guardian. Like an activator would look at a guardian sitting on a couch and could easily misinterpret that as saying like, oh, so freaking lazy.
Totally.
Like, get up and do something. Just do it. So for the activator to know like, oh, it's actually really healthy and natural for that guardian to conserve their energy, because when I need a rest and I need my little cat nap because I've been go all day, that's when my guardian spouse or partner is going to get up on the couch and create an amazing meal for the family. Yeah. And they're going to get up and push through when I don't have the energy to do it. So the next question was, how do you want to help others?
Okay, how do I want to help others? This was a difficult one for me. I was hoping that you could help me because, as people will learn, I lean on Katey a lot. She makes a lot of the decisions for me in my life.
What are big sisters for?
Yeah, exactly.
But now you don't like it now that I'm doing more coaching, because now I put it back onto you.
Exactly. That's the worst. So I got 2 points for this one. And what I said was, how do I want to help others is by sharing experiences with people, and sharing the knowledge that I've acquired through you, essentially through the health types and stuff. And I want to help people by listening to people, and accepting people, and like no judgment. And that's what I came up with. That's like all I could think of.
That's perfect. That's great. I think that even us, I think this is actually a really perfect dynamic that we have with, you know, myself, who has lived and breathed and fully immersed myself in this information to use it in my personal and professional life in every way possible, to have this dynamic right now where you, who's interested in it and you benefited from it and you believe in it because now you've seen it time and time again playing out in front of your life, in front of your eyes, that I get to share all this information with you, and we can navigate day-to-day life together with this health type lens that we can put on for people. And that's actually the answer that I came up with on how I want to help others. Is I'm really excited about this. One thing people will get to know about me is I love wordplay. And I got really excited about this concept because you've heard of bifocals before, right? Like helping you see at two different perspectives, two different differences. Yeah. And so I want to hand people the health type biofocals.
Yes. Yes.
So helping people get clarity by putting this health type lens on, put these glasses on, because once you see this information and you literally see it playing out in front of your eyes every single day, every interaction you have, not only with yourself, but with other people, this information is relevant. And once you see it, it's like you can't unsee it because it makes so much sense. And you see examples of it playing out before your eyes all over the place. And so this is what I want to help people is, you know, for me, it was such an important framework for clarity of me to objectively interpret what's happening around me instead of emotionally interpreting it or trying to logically interpret it. And I didn't quite know what I was interpreting. It's like I've now got this objective tool that can help me, that's completely informed by science and medicine, that I can use these glasses to view the humanity that's playing out in front of me. And there's no judgment there. Oh, look at this. This is happening right now. Fascinating. Look at them. They're an activator and this is how they're responding. And this is me as a guardian showing up to this scenario. Ooh, this is so cool. You know, it's really empowering to have this information. Like I said, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And this is how I want to help people, is just unpack this health type lens and what that is, and how can we interpret day-to-day actions and behaviors in a way that we can use this information so that we can accurately navigate our day-to-day lives using this, so that we can diffuse the emotion out of so much of our lives. And, you know, I also want to show people how you can learn. Like, I feel like the health type information has allowed me to learn how to unconditionally love people.
Yes.
You know, before I learned this information, fully admit I had conditions on my love. Like, people had to think the same way as me. People had to have the same values as me. People had to have the same lifestyle as me. People had to agree with me on what food was healthy, you know, what shows were interesting, what activities and hobbies were, you know, most enriching and satisfying. You know, that's how I created my world, was people had to agree with me. And if they didn't, then I didn't want them to be a part of my life. And so I put conditions on my love. I put conditions on my relationship, conditions on who I interacted with, who I wanted to communicate to. And now this has just opened up the gates to unconditional love, because I've learned how to love the differences in other people. And not only that, but how I can actually enhance my own life experience by exposing myself to different people for different results that I want. Like, if I want to have some fun social time, I'm going to go to my connector friend who's going to be bubbly and fun and just want to be there with me and for us to be happy together and go out and do something. I know now that I need to choose my connector friend to have the best experience. Whereas in the past, I might have chosen a crusader, for example, that felt like they thought more like I did and was more aligned. And so I would go to them and try and get a social connection with them, and then get dissatisfied because I'm like, oh, well, you know, they just want to talk about details and about hard facts. You know, they were not necessarily as bubbly as the kind of interaction that I wanted. Like we went and saw a documentary or something, which is still fine, but I was looking for something a little bit more vibrant and buoyant, you could say. You know, so now for me, I've learned how to maximize my own life experience and improve my own life experience, because I know who to go to get my different needs satisfied and whose natural genius it is to satisfy that need for me. And so I've really, you know, optimized, I guess you could say, my own social relationships, because now I better understand who to go to for what. And in the end, make them feel good because they're doing something that's in alignment with their natural ways, their natural geniuses, their natural talents, instead of forcing them to do something outside of their natural behavior, like asking a censor to come to a concert with you, you know, and then be disappointed when they say no, and then you take it personally, like, oh, well, why wouldn't they want to come with me? When you understand, like, it's actually because their nervous system is so much more highly attuned than mine, that the noise is going to be there, the people that are going to be there being jostled around in the crowd on the way there, they're not going to enjoy themselves at all. So it wasn't about me, it was about the environment that they didn't want to get themselves put into. It just gives you so much clarity on how you can improve your relationships with others. So Brooke, what do you want people to get out of this little show thing that we got going on?
So I didn't write an answer for this one.
Okay. Off the cuff?
Off the cuff. I want people to ultimately be entertained, have a good time, have a good laugh, hopefully, and know that everything that we are sharing or that we are talking about comes from a place of love and acceptance, and know that whatever people are going through is okay. Hopefully learning about these health types will help people ultimately in their day-to-day goings on. So whether it's dealing with people at work or dealing with family members, this information that we are and you essentially will be sharing will be able to help people be able to deal with things. Just know that this is a safe place and that we are putting ourselves out there. We're being vulnerable, and we're hoping that others will be too, with sharing with us as well.
I agree 100%. How I want people to benefit from what we have to share is exactly what you just said, is just a safe, welcoming space for us to explore ourselves and explore one another and just be vulnerable, and just know that there's a non-judgmental space for us to contemplate and reflect and better understand who we are, so that we can feel more secure in what our strengths are. And I think all too often we've been brought up to focus on our weaknesses in life. You know, like in school, you're taught, you get a tutor for the things that you're bad at. And so you've got all this extra energy and attention going into all of your weaknesses. And I think that we're all designed to have certain strengths and certain weaknesses. And it's not about focusing on those weaknesses, it's about leveraging your strengths. And how can you contribute your strengths more? And I think that's when you're going to get into alignment and really be in a place of health and happiness. And what is your weakness could be someone else's strength. And so you don't have to be good at everything. This is about understanding what the different strengths of different people are, so that you can go to someone and say, hey, you know, I'm really struggling with this, or I need some help in this area. I think I want to learn more about this, and, you know, I need some skills here. You have a better idea of who to go to, who to talk to about that, and not try and do it all yourself. And I think it's this just bringing down the barrier of like individualism, and you have to do everything yourself and be self-reliant, and, you know, focus on your weaknesses, improve those weaknesses, and strengthen those weaknesses. And that does nothing for our self-esteem. I think that contributes to our anxiety and our overwhelm, because we never feel good enough, because we're always focusing on those things we're not good enough with. And this is about understanding the strength we have as collective. Like, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, right? So when we all come together, we have all these amazing geniuses within our community. So you don't have to be good at math. You can go to someone that's got a mind that's naturally good at calculations and know that you'll get that love and support from that person. You don't feel like you have to be good at math as well as good at graphic design, as well as good at writing and do it all yourself. That there are other people that have these natural gifts and strengths, and it's very healthy for them to contribute that gift and strength to your life as well, just as you might be really good at something that they need some help with. And so you can collaborate and contribute, and that's how I feel like we're going to unify the world, is everyone just releasing this sense of individualism and, going it alone and feeling really insecure and fearful about that, and just recognizing the power of the collective, and that it's okay to let those guards down, let those barriers down, and see all of the beauty and all the strength that you do have at your fingertips that is available to you, so that you come at life from a place of abundance, of awareness, of collective compassion, that we're all here. And this is why we're all on the planet together at this time. Like, there's 7.5 billion people on this planet. Like, someone is going to have a skill and talent that you need some help with. Don't force yourself to do something that feels like it's going against the grain for you. Find someone else that is going to help you in that space. And that's what this HealthType information does. It gives you a general framework of how to more easily identify who might be able to satisfy your needs. If you want to get personal about it, get a little bit selfish about it, who should you go to get certain needs met? And how can you show up for other people that's going to be a place of strength, not a place of weakness? And so it's just adding that clarity for people. It's just helping them understand, breaking down those barriers and all of these limitations that we've put on our own self-definitions and the definitions of others, and how we have to live life and relationships and social dynamics. That, life is so much more diverse and beautiful. This is about embracing that diversity. And this is an easy way how to do that, because it's objective. It diffuses the emotion out of the situation, because this is just objective science. This isn't someone influencing their personal opinion on you, and then there's this friction because it's opinion against opinion.
Yes.
Like, this is just DNA, folks. Like, this is just the way you're genetically designed. You can't fight with Mother Nature. You will never win a fight with Mother Nature. And Mother Nature designed you this way for a reason. So let's embrace that. And I'm just really looking forward to sharing some lighthearted real life examples, and just to highlight some of these differences, because like we've mentioned, it plays out in front of you every single day. So when you can put this lens on, these goggles, these bifocals on, it just adds more clarity for you to see what's actually happening. And I want to provide clarity and compassion and unconditional love tools for people, for themselves, and for others. What's important is the authenticity and the realness of it. And to do that's the most important piece. This is honest people having real conversations, right? Like, hey, and welcome to Lighten Up, where we explore the lighter side of our similarities, our differences, and everything in between that makes us human. My name is Katey, and this is my sister, Brooke.
I'm Brooke. I was watching you so closely. I totally didn't think you were going to throw it to me so quickly. Katey is the expert when it comes to personalized health and health types and how to apply it to everyday life. I've learned so much about myself and the people that I know, and this is science that I can actually relate to.
We are two similar sisters leading very different lives. And that is just a testament to the powerful application of this information, that we can lead very different lives and still be able to use this information in a way that's valuable and useful to us.
Join the conversation and let your mind be blown too. That was good. No, yours was good. I'll go again.